You're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck.
What's up, YouTube? This is Brandon with Third Rate Duels coming to you guys another deck profile. You guys have been asking for an updated Shaddoll list, and I'm here to give that to you guys. Ever since Eclipse Wyvern got banned, the last Forbidden and Banlist, I've been kind of like moaning and groaning and complaining about it because I really like the Chaos variant, and Eclipse Wyvern's kind of essential in it because it helps you be really aggressive with it. And so I tried different variants. I tried like a clown variant, and I wasn't too happy with it because I felt like I didn't have any like mid or late game, any way to really seal the game. And then I tried Prediction Princess. I wasn't too fond of that either. I didn't feel like it was very consistent. And then I tried Train Dolls, and then I wasn't really too fond of that either because you play a super heavy Shaddoll engine in that. It makes it not as consistent. So I went back to Chaos, and I feel like this build we got here is pretty strong. Gary and I have been testing with it and tweaking some stuff, and I'm pretty happy with the way it is. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So start off Construct Field Center because Bay.
Construct sucks.
And then 2 Beast, 2 Squamata, got some rarity bumps, 2 Hedgehog, 2 Falco, and 1 Dragon. So this is the same as my previous list. I feel like 9 Shaddoll monsters is enough. I'm also main decking 2 Mathman, 1 Armageddon Knight, and 1 Foolish Burial. So realistically, you're playing 13 Shaddoll cards because any of those cards can send these. You just send Hedgehog to add. So you don't want to play too many because it'll clog your hand and you can't really make any plays. So that's why I like this quite a bit. Dragon's one of those cards with the way the game is right now. Like, you always want to play one of it just to like kind of get rid of like rogue back row and stuff. Might consider bumping this up to 2 because it's come up every once in a while, being able to like wanting to pop stuff twice. But that's like few and far between. Makes me seldomly not justify being able to play 2 because this is the worst Shaddoll monster to open. And so all of these, the rest of them, do something to further your game state. So that's why it's only 1 dragon. And then still playing 2 Alistair the Invoker. It searches the Invocation, and you kind of rely on needing a fusion spell to start your plays. And then also the Invoked Engine is still really good in the Chaos variant, in my opinion. You can make Alistair the Invoker Madness, and then put some fusion bodies on field with Mechabuzz and stuff, and it's pretty good. Also, the secondary effect to discard to pump up a fusion monster by 1,000 attack and defense comes up quite a bit. Because if like your worst case scenario is to end on just a window, and if you have this in hand, you kind of protect that window a little more because the only thing they can realistically do is to try and tag over it, and then this protects it. Window's really good against the meta right now because everything needs special summon multiple times, and this deck's worst matchup is Sky Striker. And then, because like going first or second, this deck can struggle against it. And then Thunder Dragon can be a hard matchup. If you go first against it, you just make window and realistically win, and then beat them with the sideboard. But Sky Striker is the worst matchup for this, so I kind of have my like side and stuff prepared for that. I feel like the main deck kind of takes care of everything else. But anyways, 2 Alistair, and then 2 Mathman. Please excuse the gold rares. Dustin is borrowing my secrets, and so Gary is letting me use his gold rares for this deck profile. So
hey, don't give me credit for those.
But these should be secrets. Dustin has them. And then 1 Armageddon Knight. Other list I was playing 3 and 1. I ended up actually cutting the 3rd Mathematician out for Foolish Burial because I realized after posting that list that I wasn't main decking Foolish Burial. And everyone knows that Foolish Burial is the best main deck Shaddoll monster. So 2 Mathematician, 1 Armageddon Knight. Same concept. I ain't playing Naga, so this can be any Shaddoll monster. And then this also sends Alistair, which comes up sometimes if you open Invocation and you already have a fusion spell, and you kind of want to put the Alistair in grave to get your invoked plays going. You can do that as well. And then Armageddon Knight and any fusion is pretty much just a 2-card window. So other than Invocation, so El Shaddoll Fusion or Shaddoll Fusion is a 2-card window. And then I am playing a small clown engine in this. So I'm playing 2 Trick Clown and 2 Damage Juggler. So I'm not playing the Earth one that special summons because it's can be kind of cloggy. I know you can use it multiple times in a turn, but this is just in here to get light targets to get plays going, and then they also helps make rank 4s and helps also link up. So that's why they're in here. This is at 2, so that's why I only chose to play 2. I didn't want to play 3 of this because this isn't a card you want to see multiple copies of in your hand. And again, you can dump this off of Mathematician to search a light target, which is really good in my opinion. Since the baby dragons both went to 1, I kind of had to find something to be link fodder and to replace light targets with. So this is what I went with. and it's pretty good. And then playing one white dragon and one black dragon. Even though these got limited in the previous builds, I was playing 2 and 2. These guys getting limited didn't hurt this chaos build a whole lot. What hurt the chaos build a lot was Eclipse Wyvern getting banned, because you would send it off Shaddoll Fusion going second, and then banish it with Invocation or Black Dragon to play Dad and get that going. But these are still really good. They're link fodder, and it's also a light target and a dark target for Construct and Winda. Again, and then they search each other so you can link climb. They're still pretty good. And then 2 BLS. I would seriously consider putting in the third, because now that you have to hard draw Dad, it can be harder to put big bodies on the field. So I would seriously consider playing a third, or even putting in 1 Levianeer, just because Dad's not that good mid to late game, depending on how much chaos stuff you open. So putting a Levianeer in would help solve that issue. So when you guys take a look at this list and kind of think about what you would change, that's something I personally would consider, is putting in a Levianeer. I just haven't tested Levianeer very much, so I didn't feel comfortable putting it in right now. But that's something I would have you guys consider. And then here is the Spice Ulti Dad. So still playing Dad because it's still pretty easy to manipulate the graveyard in this, especially if you put in Levianeer. And then this is just, clears boards. So that's why we're playing this. And had to show off the sexy Dad that Austin's letting me use. So, and then to round off the monsters is Triple Effect Veiler. Same concept. I didn't want to play 0 hand traps in this deck, because even though like Shaddoll Fusion's kind of a blowout card, certain matchups you can struggle going second against, and I wanted to play a hand trap that was also a light target for Construct and Mechaba.
Would you consider Ogre?
Yeah, but I mean, maybe in the side in the future. But Veiler's just all around the better card, just because they can chain block Ogre. I would rather just Veiler, stop an effect, and then, because if they can end on a subpar board, and you open Shaddoll Fusion and they have an X-Rec monster, you're just probably going to blow through them and OTK them. And then that's it for monsters. To move on to spells, we're playing triple Shaddoll Fusion. Again, if you go second, your opponent ends on an X-Rec monster, depending on the matchup, you're probably going to win, just because you're going to put everything in grave that you need, especially if you draw Dad or BLS. And then triple L Shaddoll Fusion, 3 of each of these, because as I said earlier, you kind of need to open a fusion spell to really do anything. And then on one of my previous lists, someone commented on why not send the El Shaddoll Fusion off the Squamata, and I'll be honest, that's something I never really thought about. So being able to send El Shaddoll Fusion off Squamata, and then linking out of the Construct into New Alistair, the Invoker of Madness, into then add the El Shaddoll Fusion back off the Construct, then you can make Window on your opponent's turn super good. So I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head who made that comment. But me doing that has opened up a lot more plays with this deck. So thank you to whoever did that. I'll give credit where credit is due. And then 2 Invocations, again, playing 8 fusion spells. Invocation's really good, not just because of the invoked plays, but because you can fusion summon out of hand, and this is searchable off of Alistair. Wouldn't play any more than 2 of this, 3 would be cloggy. And then still 3 Called by the Graves. As you guys have probably noticed throughout this profile, I've gotten several rarity bumps. These are Gary's, so give quick shout outs over that. Call by the Grave again because I'm still playing Meltdown, but this deck is still super susceptible to Ash. So you kind of want the Call by the Graves to help combat that, because Shaddoll Fusion is always susceptible to Ash Blossom because it can send from deck to grave. I don't want to get into that. But so Call by the Grave, just because it helps secure your plays. Still playing 2 Meltdown and 1 Terraforming. Searches Alistair and gets your plays going. Also protects them from stuff like Judgment and Warning. Pretty good card. And then the last main deck card is 1 Foolish Burial. The fact that I forgot this in my last profile is very embarrassing in my opinion. This card's super good because it sends Alistair if you open Invocation, sends any Shaddoll card, so that way you can add a Shaddoll to hand off Hedgehog to make fusion plays, and it also sends Damage Juggler to grave, so that way you can actually search a light target. So pretty good stuff. And that's it for the main deck. We'll get on to the extra deck if I would quit throwing my cards. 1 Construct. Again, as I said in all the other builds that I posted, this will be a lot better when Construct goes to 2, and then it'd be awesome if it goes to 3. Again, because I find myself needing a second or third Construct several times. So the next things I bump is I'm going to be looking to get some ulti constructs here soon. But 1 construct because it's only at 1. And then 3 Winda. Winda's like super good in the game right now because like Thunder Dragon, if you end on a Winda and Alistair in hand especially, they really can't get over it. And so you'll just control the game state from there. The next turn, probably OTK them. So Winda's super, super good. The only thing this card's not that great against is Sky Striker. And I said earlier, Sky Striker is probably the hardest matchup for this because like Thunder Dragon, if you play first, you can probably beat them game 1. And then games 2 and 3, beat them in the side. And then Winda's super strong against that matchup. Winda's super strong against Ultrageist because they can't multi-figure. Winda's super strong against, like, if you're afraid you're going to get Nibiru'd or, stuff like that. You make Winda, they can't Nibiru you. So, it's pretty good. Pretty good. And then, 1 check. Shout out to Brandon Gibby for getting me this. It's an ultimate rare. I cut it down to 1 because you realistically don't need more than 1 of this. This isn't like old school Chaos days to where, you played 2 checks to out the mirror match. You only really need 1, and then it's only really live because I'm playing Mathematician. Triple Invoked Mechaba. Ooh, secrets. Shout out to Austin for giving me the secrets, and then Gary for letting me borrow the 3rd. Gotta get the pretty shinies, So 3 Mechaba because you can, depending on, like, especially in the grind game, you can burn through Mechabas really fast. So it's really nice to have the 3rd. I wouldn't, like, you could realistically cut this down to 2, but I promise you'll probably miss the 3rd Mechaba in the grind game. And then a new addition to this, which is actually super good, is Kalga.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gary. Kalga's really good because, like if you can't like protect Winda with Alistair, but you can make Kalga, you'll add Alistair back to hand. And then a lot of first turn boards I can end with this deck is I can either go Alistair, the Invoker of Madness, with a Mechaba, and then I can either make either a Kalga or a Winda. And if I have El Shaddoll Fusion in hand, like if I sent it off the Skolmata and then added it back off the Construct, I'll actually make this, because if you have these 2 cards together, your opponent goes to activate a monster effect, and then you negate it with Mechaba, they're locked into monster effects for the turn, because Kalga says if your opponent attempts to activate a monster effect. So since they attempted to, even though you negated the activation with Mechaba, they don't get any more monster effects for the turn. And then if they try to do something to try and out this, you just El Shaddoll Fusion into Winda, and then sit on that. And so it's a pretty good lock. And so this card is really, really good. It has actually won me quite a few games. So this is pretty good. I would highly consider playing it. And then for Link 2s, 2 Alistair, the Invoker of Madness. You don't need any more than 2. And I've gotten questioned several times on this. His effect to discard to search an invocation is not cost. So you activate it, and I would probably activate it as like chain link 1 or 2, so that way you can kind of chain block it. But so if you discard a Shaddoll monster off of Alistair, the Invoker of Madness, the Shaddoll monster will get its effect, because there's no semicolon or colon in the text of this card to discard, so it's not cost. So keep that in mind. You do get your Shaddoll effects off of the Invoker of Madness. And Lambda, this could be land for Linkus. I went with Lambda because it's a generic Link 2 and it's stronger. Gary likes to argue with me and play land for Linkus, but this guy's stronger, so that's the only reason that it's over here over land for Linkus. And it's a generic Link 2 because sometimes you kind of like attribute and type lock yourself, and this guy has to be monsters with 2 different attributes and 2 different types. So that's why this is in here. And then Borrow Load and Borrow Sword. So Borrow Load's in here because you can Link Climb into a Link 4 fairly easily in this. So this is kind of out Thunder Dragon, and then Sword is the Seal Games. And then the last monster in the extra deck is Abyss Dweller. Playing with level 4s with like the Clowns and the Chaos Dragons, and then Squamata and Dragon are all level 4s. So against like Orcust and Salamangreat, it's really easy to make Dweller, so that's why it's in here. That does it for the extra deck. Side deck, keep in mind this is just what I picked for this. You could tailor the side deck to be more Thunder Dragon heavy, but which I would consider. But what I have right now seems to work out for me. So 3 Nibiru. The reason Nibiru is really good in this is because it's a light target for Construct. So even if they don't, make 5, summon 5 times that turn, and you don't get to Nibiru them if like they brick or something, you can always use this as a light target for Construct. Secondly, if you do Nibiru them, if you open Alistair, it makes Alistair the Invoker of Madness, and you don't ever have to worry about how big the token is that you special summon off this, because Construct will just beat over it. because Construct's effect is it'll automatically destroy a special summon monster. So Nibiru is like super good because of those two reasons. And then triple Denko Sekka. You don't always need your normal summon in this variant, so a lot of times just being able to Denko Sekka like Altergeist or Sky Striker with the Shaddoll Fusion in hand is super good. So that's why Denko's in here. Back row can kind of be the death of this deck sometimes, so I sided a little bit heavy for that. And then 2 Lancia. This is for Thunder and Orcust. Realistically, like if I open Denko and Shaddoll Fusion against Orcust, it's pretty solid and I'm pretty sold there, and I'll probably win that game. But Lancia's in there just mainly because of pure Thunder. You can kind of struggle against that deck some. And then 3 Secret Villages Spellcasters. The reason this is in here, as I said earlier, your hardest matchup is Sky Striker. So if you go second against Sky Striker, I'm going to side in the Denkos and the Twin Twisters, and then try and like Denko them and then Shaddoll Fusion and go for game. But if you go first, you want to play Secret Villages Spellcasters against them because all of the Shaddoll monsters are spellcasters. Winda is a spellcaster, and Alistair is a spellcaster, as well as Alistair the Invoker of Madness. All spellcasters, so this card is always live. And then 2 Twin Twister, again, back row / control decks. And then 2 red reboots for the same reason. So that does it for the deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of this updated Chaos Shaddoll deck profile. I'll keep working on other variants. If you guys want to see a Prediction Princess build, let me know. I have a build made. I just didn't like it as much as this one. So let me know if you guys want to see that. Later, YouTube.